Hey everybody, Ross here, and this is Bible Study Silverstar. If this is your first time on this channel, click the first link down in the description, or if you'd rather just see what's been going on recently, click the second link in the description to go back to Exodus 12. Now, without further ado, I'm just going to jump right on in to Exodus 13, verse 1. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Consecrate to me all the firstborn, whatever opens the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and beast, it is mine. And Moses said to the people, Remember this day in which you went out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of hand the Lord brought you out of this place. No leavened bread shall be eaten. On this day you were going out in the month Abib. And it shall be, when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall keep this service in this month. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day there shall be a feast to the Lord. Unleavened bread shall be eaten 7 days, and no leavened bread shall be seen among you, nor shall leaven be seen among you in all your quarters. And you shall tell your son in that day, saying, This is done, which you did for me when I came up from Egypt. It shall be as a sign to you on your hand, and as a memorial between your eyes, that the Lord's law may be in your mouth. For with a strong hand the Lord has brought you out of Egypt. You shall therefore keep this ordinance in its season from year to year. And it shall be, when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, as he swore to you and your fathers, and gives it to you, that you shall set apart to the Lord all that opens the womb, that is, every firstborn that comes from an animal which you have. The males shall be the Lord's. But every firstborn of a donkey you shall redeem with a lamb. And if you will not redeem it, then you shall break its neck. And all the firstborn of man among your sons you shall redeem. So it shall be, when your son asks you in time to come, saying, What is this? That you shall say to him, By strength of hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh was stubborn about letting us go, that the Lord killed all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I sacrifice to the Lord all males that open the womb, but all the firstborn of my sons I redeem. It shall be as a sign on your hand, and as frontlets between your eyes. For by strength of hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt. Then it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God did not lead them by the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, Lest perhaps the people change their minds when they see war, and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea. And the children of Israel went up in orderly ranks out of the land of Egypt. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had placed the children of Israel under solemn oath, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here with you. So they took their journey from Succoth, and camped in Etham at the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, to go by day and night. He did not take away the pillar of cloud by day, or the pillar of fire by night from before the people. Alright, this is another one of those chapters that I'm not entirely sure of what's going on, particularly with the law, so expect some quotes here. But anyway, the chapter begins with God commanding every firstborn to be consecrated to Him. According to BibleStudyTools.com, quote, "The firstlings of clean beasts, such as lambs, kids, and calves, if males, were to be devoted to God and employed in sacrifice. Those unclean beasts, as the donkey's colt, being unfit for sacrifice, were to be redeemed." End quote. According to the MacArthur Bible Commentary, quote, "Since the firstborn of Israel, of both man and animal, were untouched by the 10th plague, it was fitting that they be set aside as special to God." Note the closing emphasis, "it is mine." This divine demand was closely linked to the day of departure, referring to Exodus 12:51, on that same day, and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, verse 3, this day, and verse 4, on this day in the month Abib. End quote. The word consecrate basically means to separate something or someone from the majority in some way, usually for example, you've probably heard a pastor or a preacher say that the church should be consecrated or sanctified to God. In that context, he means that the church should be separated from the world and its ways and devoted to God and His ways. Now, moving on. In verses 3 to 5, Moses reminds the people to remember everything God is doing for them. Now, let's just say that Israel is a really forgetful bunch, as we'll see throughout the rest of the Bible. Now, moving on. Verse 13 says that every donkey and male child should be redeemed with a lamb. But why? Now, I don't know all of the particulars, but I do know that donkeys are considered unclean animals in in Israel, sorry. So for the unclean animal to live, a clean animal must be sacrificed for it. In other words, a life for a life. This is a picture of Jesus' sacrifice for us. Now, we are all unclean before God because we're all sinners. So none of us could be the sacrifice needed to allow us to live and have a relationship with God, because a sinner can't pay for another sinner's sin because his own sin has to be paid for. But anyway, Jesus was the only possible sacrifice that would be acceptable to God, because Jesus was fully God, fully man, and lived a completely sinless and clean life. So he willingly gave up his life so that we could live and have a relationship with God again. Then he rose from the dead to further prove that he is who he said he is, and that anything and everything is possible within his power. Praise the Lord. Now, moving on. Why did God choose to bring Israel to the Red Sea instead of through the land of the Philistines? Verse 17 says that Israel might have gone back to Egypt if they were faithful. According to the MacArthur Bible Commentary, quote, "Travelers going east and northeast out of Egypt had two good options. the way of the sea, or the way of Shur. The first route, the most direct and shortest, was dotted with Egyptian fortresses, which monitored arrivals and departures to and from Egypt. A little further north, Philistine territory also presented a military threat. The lack of battle readiness on Israel's part deleted the first option, and God chose the second option. In any case, God had told Moses to lead the people to Horeb, or Sinai, the mountain of God, and not to take them immediately to Canaan. End quote. Now, verse 19 shows that Israel honored their ancestors' oath to Joseph from Genesis 50 to bring his bones with them out of Egypt. And finally, the chapter ends with God leading the people with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. They would never be lost if they just followed the pillars. In the same way, we as Christians will never be lost if we just follow Jesus and submit to his lead and his will. And that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, or suggestions, leave them down below in the comments. And may God make you as Ephraim and Manasseh, to be fruitful where you are, and to forget the pain of your past. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you all soon in Exodus 14.